friends, and welcome to another day of Crochet and Crime. My name is Hazy Baby, and on this channel I crochet while talking about crime. Fancy that. So if you are new to my channel, then head on over to my page, check out my bio. It has my subscription link in it to YouTube. Head on over to YouTube, subscribe and follow me, and comment for a chance to win a blanket. If you really love my work, then please head on over and just like every video and talk on every video so that I comment back. I will 100% comment back. I always do. And yeah, so today is Wednesday, the 24th. Yes, the 24th of May. And I will be talking to you guys about crime, real crime that happens in Australia and sometimes abroad. Also while crocheting. Okay, bye! Okie dokie, artichokies. Welcome to another day of Crochet and Crime. I did plan on doing this Crochet and Crime much earlier today, but in the ways of the world, it got ahead of me. So instead, I'll be doing it now. So what I'm doing is I am working on this project, and this project I'm going to add a raffle to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. So I'm going to be raffling this blanket off. So I'll be popping up some tickets for that later, a little bit later on. Right now I am just making this up as I go along. So yesterday's video I did this one in the background here, and now I'm doing the other 8 before I forget what it was that I did, even though I wrote myself some notes, but the chicken scratching notes. So yeah, it is what it is. So without further ado, like I said, today is the 24th of May 2023, and I have some doozies of some stories to tell you today. So first of all, first cab off the rank is my evolving story of that grandma who was tasered. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then head on over to my page and have a look at the other video, and you can see in that video and the one before that a 95-year-old grandmother was tasered. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because she had a steak knife, so apparently that's super dangerous. And she was tasered by a police officer. That police officer was stood down yesterday, and today he was charged with assault. So I am so glad, and I hope that she doesn't die because she's still in palliative care. But I'm glad that he's been charged with assault, because there really was no need to be tasering a little old lady of 95 years old, even if she had dementia, and even if, I mean, who's scared of little old ladies, seriously? Who's afraid of the big bad wolf, the big bad wolf? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. Okie dokie. So that was our first story for the day. It was really just a quick recap of what I was talking about over the last couple of days. Now I'm going to move on to our next story. So yeah, as you can see with these, I've got 3 middles that are exactly the same as this one, and then I've got 3 that are like this, and then I've got 3 that are like this. And so yeah, that's my plan. My plan is to make them all, so in the end it'll look like there'll be one of those, one of those, and one of those, and then one of those, one of those, and one of those, and so on until it's a big blanket. I mean, I just did that and you guys can't even see what I was doing. Basically I'm laying it out like this: 1, 2, 3. So they've got different middles, different flowers, I suppose. I want a different effect for each one. So I was thinking that's a nice pink color there, and then I was thinking that I might do a lovely round of gold on the white ones. So this lovely gold here on the white ones, the gold flowers. And then I was thinking of doing this really, I don't know about this orange yet, because it's kind of, I feel like it's a bit too bright. But then, I don't know. And I've only got 1 ball of it, so I'm not 100% sure I want to do that color. but I need something to make it pop. I mean, I could do this color in here for the flower on the gold and white ones, but then you're going to end up with, like, see, that doesn't look that nice, where I think this actually looks nicer. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Just made up my mind just now. Okie dokie. Popping that back on my gypsy hand. And going to my next story. Yep. Where have we got? Okie dokie. So this story is kind of doozy. It is the story of a woman who ran down her husband after she discovered him with a mistress. So, yep, like I said, that's definitely an interesting story. So a video shows how a betrayed wife ran down a husband and mistress after discovering an affair. So it was a case that seemed stranger than fiction, and it is kind of funny, where a betrayed wife tracked down her cheating husband using a phone app before running him and his mistress over when she discovered that they had had an affair. So now, nearly 2 years after the love triangle, the dramatic confrontation on a quiet Queensland street, you can see the video reveals exactly how it unfolded. So CCTV footage shows Christy Lee Kennelly ploughing into her husband, David Larkin, and his mistress, Zoe Norring, after they showed it to the jury during the trial. It's never been released to the public, so it's news now because, you know, she's been convicted, so it's news now. And I know it's not funny, like, it really isn't funny. She did kind of take it to the extreme, I get it. She was very naughty, but, you know, maybe he shouldn't have been cheating, I'm just saying. But maybe, yeah, I don't know, this is one of those hard ones where you're just like, I mean, yeah, don't be a coward, just leave. We all do stupid shit. Okie dokie. So it's shown Larkin and Norring canoodling next to their car on Bagot Street in the peaceful Brisbane suburb. And then the wife comes hooning around the corner at Waverley Heights in 2021. They're, like, unaware of what is about to happen, obviously, because they would have jumped out of the way if they knew what was going to go down. But they had no idea. They were not suspecting. Bum, bum, bum. Within seconds, Kennelly is seen barreling down the street in her white BMW SUV. Of course she drives a BMW, smashing straight into the unexpecting lovers. During the trial, Kennedy maintained that she did not intend to strike the couple. She simply wanted to hit them. That is striking, my love. The jury accepted this argument and last month found Kennedy not guilty of 2 counts of malicious acts with the intent to disable. I think maybe I can kind of see where her rage, she went to go and confront them, and then when she saw that, like, her suspicions were verified with the canoodling, she just wanted to give him a gentle love tap, if you will, I think was her argument that she made. So, yeah, so the neighbour and the Waverley Heights residents for more than 30 years, Scummy, said that the collision happened right out front of his home. I heard a loud thud from inside and we had the TV cranked up so you could hear the bang. That's how loud it was. What happens next is obscured by the family car, but the court heard Kennedy got out of the other side of the car and attacked her husband and girlfriend Zoe, pulling her hair and punching her in the head. Then the vision shows that she gets back in and takes off, leaving Larkin and Norring still on the ground. I picked up my phone and called the ambos, and my boy was chased that girl down the road. Jesus, that's hilarious. I mean, it's not funny, but it is funny. Like, obviously she didn't intend to kill them because she left and she didn't hit them with the full force of her car. She just like banged into them. But seriously, she like got out and she started like losing her shit. Just cat fight on for young and old. The lady is crazy and her emotions are in the wrong spot towards the wrong person. She shouldn't be upset with the mistress. It's not the mistress's fault. And even if it is the mistress's fault, it's not her relationship. It's your relationship. As neighbours rush to help Zoe with her leg injuries, hobbles to her car and minutes later drives away. Then the scorned wife, Kennedy, is seen on video wearing white pants, returns to the scene of the collision and yells at her husband, who is shown on the ground appearing to be writhing in pain, and waits beside him until paramedics and police arrive. So obviously she came to her senses because she went back to see if he was okay. But she would have been fuming. She was pissed, guys. She was like, fuck you, your mama too, and your daddy. Ooh, stick you, your mama too. But yeah, obviously. Damn. Don't mess with her, man. She will knock you down. There's another shooting. So a man shot dead by police in Brisbane was in Queensland Health custody the day before his death. This is just freaking tragic, guys. So a man who was shot dead by police in Brisbane was in the custody of Queensland Mental Health less than 24 hours prior to his death, and it can now be revealed. So officers were called to the address on Days Road in Garang a little after 2:15 on Sunday after reports that a 29-year-old First Nations man was trying to stab his father with a knife. So this is that story that I was telling you guys 2 days ago. So a Aboriginal man or First Nations person was the police were called to the house because the father was being threatened and stabbed with a knife by his son. And the police came in and basically he wouldn't put the knife down. He lunged at his father or something along those lines, and then the police shot him. But they shot him 3 times. There was like no need for that. Anyway, it's excessive force as far as I'm concerned. And according to this news article, he was in the facility for mental health problems less than 24 hours beforehand. So obviously there's been some sort of gap there in continuity of care. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And unfortunately, our health system doesn't allow for us to retain people who are injuries to themselves or others. If they don't want to be there, then we can't keep them. And yeah, unfortunately, because they just chuck a big tantrum and then they hurt the people that are in the hospital who are just trying to help other people. So really there's no point in them being in there if that's their plan to do those things. So yeah, so 3 shots were discharged, like I said, and he was shot 3 times. It's understood that the man tried to injure his father with a pitchfork. That wasn't quite clear last time I read this story. So last time I read this story, the police said that they found a pitchfork in the backyard, and I was like, well, how is that relevant to the story? And now they're speculating that he said that he was attacking his father with a pitchfork. So I don't know how that went from like it being in the backyard to he was attacking him, but okay. Police said that they first fired a taser in an attempt to disarm the man, but missed. So terrible shot, obviously. Did they only have one taser? Like, I don't understand why they couldn't have used a different taser. I mean, anyway. But then they had to resort to their guns, apparently. Their cam footage, so their body cam footage, has been handed in and it's under review. The second officer came face to face with the man in many days, sending him to a mental health hospital assessment on Saturday. So it was actually one of the police officers who sent him to the assessment. So it sounds like they did everything within their power to try and help the man to start with. And he was hell-bent on whatever he was hell-bent on. But that's really sad. And mental health is no joke, guys. Like, you know, if you need help, then please seek help. Because I would hate to see more people as a statistic of, you know, violence, because there's no way, like, that was just one part of his life, and now his life is sadly ended because he couldn't get his shit together. And so, yeah, I do feel sorry for him. And I feel sorry for his mum, who had to be there and watch her son be shot to death. And I feel sorry for the dad, who would probably feel responsible, because your kids are your kids and you love them no matter what. So, unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about it. If they need help, they need help. But anyway, that's a really, really sad story. So let's move on. These are all sad stories because I'm talking about crime. Some of them are quite funny, though. Okay, so 4 teens are arrested after allegedly fleeing from a stolen car in Melbourne. So 4 teenagers have been arrested after they fled from a suspected stolen car in Melbourne yesterday morning. Police were called to a car park on Morriston Road in Casey Fields after reports of a suspicious car at 4 a.m. Police alleged a vehicle check showed that the car was stolen and matched one believed to have been involved in an aggravated burglary at a fast food store in Berwick earlier in the morning. As officers closed in, the driver reversed all of the car bollards and disabled the car. So they reversed backwards over all of the car park bollards. 4 female occupants of the car allegedly tried to flee but were arrested with the help of the dog squad. I got there in the end. So yeah, the teens were aged 16 through to 19, and are helping police with their inquiries regarding the stolen car and yeah, stuff like that. There's a lot of stolen cars happen up here in Queensland, so this is not a new story for me. I know that it's out of Melbourne this time, but you know, there's a running joke up here that, you know, it's Crocs and Crims, and now it's Crocs and childhood criminals. Yay! So it's kind of sad, really, if you think about it. If you think about it, it's kind of sad. That's my song for today. You're welcome. Let's move on. So, this one's not from Australia, but it is from Idaho, as a student murder suspect stands silent during court hearing. So, the suspect of a stabbing death at the University of Idaho opted to stand silent to the murder charges, which is, you know, his right. He can do that. The judge, prompting the judge to enter not guilty pleas on his behalf because he refused to say anything at all. He could face the death penalty. So the November killings stunned the rural community of Moscow, Idaho, and prompted many students to leave campus early, switching to remote learning for the remainder of the semester, which, you know, is panic-inducing for sure. So Brian Kuber, 28, was arrested late last year and charged with burglary and 4 counts of first-degree murder in connection to the slayings of Madison Morgan, Kaylee Goncaves, and Xander Canoodle and Ethan Kaplan at a rental home near the university in Idaho, on the Idaho campus. Jeebus, he went on a rampage. And he just looks so innocent. They always look so innocent. I mean, some of them look super creepy. Anyway, he declined to enter any plea with the district court, and his defense attorney, Ann Taylor, telling the judge that they were going to stand silent at this time, which is there, like I said, it's there. He can do that. It's legal. Can legally just stand there and say nothing. It's not uncommon to not be unheard of defendants to stand silent in criminal cases, but it does happen every now and then. Sometimes it's done because the defendants and their lawyers feel that they need more time to weigh the ramifications of entering a plea of guilty or not guilty. Other times it can be part of a broader legal strategy or simply defendant's personal choice. And I think it looks like in this case it might just be his personal choice. I think he's going to be one of those people who wants control all the way to the very end. He's declined to waive his rights to a speedy trial, so the judge scheduled it to begin on October 2nd. It's still possible in that trial to expect it to last about 6 weeks, and he could be denied or moved to a different location, which, you know, makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's not uncommon for them to move to a different place, because if it is such a small town, and there would be definitely a tainted jury pool, so there'd be no way for him to get a fair trial, because everyone would know what was already happening and everyone would already have that information about the case and wouldn't be able to be impartial, if that makes any sense to anyone else. It does to me. But yeah, you wouldn't be able to be impartial, because especially if you knew the families or any of that stuff, would be kind of, very upsetting, obviously, to the community at large. So, yeah, so he was a graduate student, ironically studying criminology in nearby Washington State University. So he didn't even go to this Idaho University when the University of Idaho students were killed, but prosecutors have not released any information about why they believe he may have chosen the victims or whether he had met any of them previously. They have no idea, because he's refusing to say anything. So police released a few details about the investigation until he was arrested at his parents' home in eastern Pennsylvania in December. Court documents detailed how police pieced together DNA evidence, cell phone data, and surveillance videos that they say links Kubler to the slayings. And it really literally is slayings, guys. He murdered them in their beds, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. Investigations said traces of DNA found on a knife and sheath inside the home where the students were killed matches Kubler's, and the cell phone belonging to Kubler was near the victim's home in a dozen locations prior to the killings. I mean, it's a small town, so it doesn't surprise me, and that's pretty circumstantial, really, but mix it with the rest and what do you get? And a white sedan allegedly matching one owned by Kubler. I'm pretty sure I'm saying his name incorrectly, but it's okay. Kubler was caught on surveillance footage repeatedly cruising past the rental home around the time of the killings. So the victims were friends and members of the university's Greek system, and the three women lived together in the rental home just across the street from campus. The man who died was the boyfriend of one of the girls and who had been staying the night when these murders took place. So they don't know whether he planned to kill just all the women and the dude just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. But, yeah. Needless to say, he's dead anyway, so doesn't matter, I suppose. Prosecutor Bill Thompson has now 60 days to inform the court whether he will be seeking the death penalty in the case, and I honestly don't believe in the death penalty. And I know that's controversial, but I don't believe an eye for an eye. I really don't think it'll bring him back, and I think it's a coward way out for the people who committed these crimes. Nah, leave them in prison so they can think about it for the rest of their days. For the rest of their days, they're locked into prison, and they know exactly why they're there, and they live in misery. Absolute misery. So yeah, let them have that. Don't let them die. That's easy. When you lights out, you're done. You know? What kind of punishment is that? None. It's no kind of punishment. It's just like... Right, and he gets to just, have the lethal injection and just fade away to nothingness when he, brutally murdered these people, if he did, murder these people. He brutally murdered these people, and why should he get anything that they didn't get? Yeah, anyway. All right, so very brazen. Back to Australia. A Sydney man is shot and killed as he sat in his car outside of his home. I've got no idea what's going on. So there's a lot of shootings happening lately, a lot of shootings, a lot of stabbings. Jesus, Australia, wake up to yourself. What the fuck is happening? It's just ridiculous. So the victim of a deadly shooting in Western Sydney has been identified as Marvin O'Hala, aged in his 20s, who was found slumped in his seat of his car, riddled with bullets. Like riddled, not just one, just so many bullets. Investigations are continuing this morning after the fatal shooting at Elizabeth Hills. Police described the incident as very brazen and have not ruled out any potential gang links. I mean, of course, because, well, really, in all fairness, it would have to be gang-related or at least crime-related, because no average Joe can afford a weapon here in Australia. Like, because they are illegal, they are freaking pricey. You want to kill someone with a gun. You want to, make sure that that's who you want to do, because it's not cheap. It's definitely not cheap. So yeah, I would say it also has to do with gang or some sort of crime for sure. So 9 News understands that the family of members, blah, 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 have asked for this information to be kept to themselves, yada, 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 all of that jazz. But now they have agreed to release his stuff. He was in the driver's seat and he was shot multiple times. Police are investigating if he had any low-level links with the outlaw motorcycle club, but it's believed that he was not a member. And let's stop blaming the motorcycle clubs, hey? Let's just leave them alone for a little bit. A man who lived close by said the killing had shocked the local community, which it would. He was very good. It was so sad. The whole family is sad. The whole neighborhood is sad. We don't know, and we don't know why. So I think by the sounds of it, it sounds like a case of mistaken identity, because it doesn't look like he had any kind of criminal background whatsoever. But who knows? Who knows? That would be speculation. Anyway, so New South Wales police said that obviously it was very brazen, and there was 3 triangular crimes that were happening at the same time. So one car was set on fire about 1 suburb over. Another car was set on fire 2 suburbs over, and then he was shot in his car, the suburb over. So it was like a little triangle, like 1, 2, 3. So I definitely think it was a coordinated attack. I don't know any of the other details. Unfortunately, I don't have any of them, but hopefully the family will let the media know and we can have as much information as possible. But at the moment, the family are putting blocks up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Because, we're curious by nature, humans. We're curious by nature. And we definitely, when something occurs, we're like, ooh, what happened? Ooh, I want to see. Which is not a good thing. But it's inert. We don't have any control over it. It's inert. I think that's the same color. It is the same color. Let's go with, I don't know. I really don't know about this color, hey, because it is so, it's just, I feel like it'll really pop out. What do you think? Do you think nah? If I don't put that one in, then what do I go with? Do I go with pink? No. Do I go with this color? It's too light, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. We'll see. If I don't like it, I can always undo it, right? So we'll do one, see what it looks like, and obviously have to spread this color out a little bit. Doesn't it sound familiar? Doesn't it hit too close to home? Doesn't it make you shiver? The way things could have gone, and it feel peculiar. And everyone wants a little more, and so that I do remember to never go that far. Could you leave me with the sky? Okay, so this really sad story is a sad story about a grenade who killed a dad and injured 2 children as family members looked at grandfather's belongings. So how sad is that? The dad and 2 of the kids are seriously injured, but the dad died. That's so sad. I really don't like this orange, guys. I don't think I'm even going to make it all the way around, to be honest. Is it too bright? Well, it kind of goes with the other colours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just do 1 and see what I think. If it's too bright, I think it kind of needs a bright colour to make it pop. Make it pop. So, a hand grenade exploded. Again, this is not in Australia. This is in the US. As a US family went through a grandfather's belongings. So, killing a man and wounding his 2 teenage children. The explosion occurred on Saturday, local time, so Saturday in America, in a garage home in the lakes of Four Seasons, about 50 kilometers of Chicago, apparently. So Brian Nidert, 47, died, and his 14-year-old son and 18-year-old daughter were taken to the hospital with shrapnel wounds. Oh my god, that is so terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. And when they wake up, their dad is dead. That's so sad. So investigations are still trying to determine the elements of the case, but not limited to whether the device may have self-detonated just due to its age, or other factors such as maybe someone brushed the pin out of it on the way and didn't realize that it was the pin to a grenade when they pulled it out of the box. But they are piecing together the circumstances. So hopefully they will have some more information about that. But this is the reason why we shouldn't keep weaponry just laying around. That's horrible. That's so sad. That's just so sad. Okay, so back to Australia. More than 200K, so $200,000 in jewellery has been stolen after a Queensland store owner was held at gunpoint by a disguised man. So a jewellery store owner has been held at gunpoint during an armed robbery here in Queensland, which saw 2 men take more than $200,000 worth of stock. So the men, who appeared to be wearing balaclavas, entered Raha Jewellers with guns and threatened the owner of the family-run business, Abdul Azim, on May 22nd. So, craziness. The lucrative haul of jewellery, mostly gold, was taken from the store, which is located in Camonvale Shopping Centre. So he said, I said, yeah, I'll do it, and kept backing out, trying to get them out of the property. But they were getting increasingly frustrated. So he was like trying to get them to leave. Like, oh yeah, I'll do it. And trying to get them to leave. But obviously that didn't work. You can see on the CCTV footage, Azim putting the jewelry into a bag and the thieves threatening him. And this is the thing, like, they were in there quickly. They left quickly. They knew exactly what they wanted to get. They pointed out the things that they wanted to get. So for me, they've definitely cased the store previously because they knew what they were looking for. They knew the jewels they were looking for. I mean, I'm glad no one was hurt, and in the end, it's just stuff. Honestly, it's just stuff. I'm sure you're insured. Not that that makes it okay. I mean, he is a victim in this case, but it is just stuff, like I said. One man can be seen lunging towards Azim after a woman outside of the store screamed for help. He sort of dropped his weapon and I went to slightly move toward it. Then the other guy went and hit me. Well, because he was scared you were going to grab the gun and shoot his friend. He said, we sell 22 karat gold, and they just targeted the bangles because I think they're easier to melt and get rid of, and they're worth more value, and they don't have any they just have the stamp on them, so they're probably the easiest to move as well. You always hear stories, but you don't risk it, and you never think it'll happen to you. Police are investigating the incident. I don't think that they'll find these people. They were pretty brazen. They were dressed in balaclavas. They were very organised. I mean, unless one of those guys is an idiot, I think they'll pretty much get away with it. But who knows? Not that I'm saying it's okay to, do crime, but with the cost of living and how expensive everything is at the moment, and the fact that they didn't hurt anyone, and all of that jazz was taken into consideration. I mean, surely they definitely traumatized the poor guy. He'll be traumatized for the rest of his days for shizzle. But I honestly think there's worse crimes out there. I know, everyone's going to be like, oh, so shocking, Hazy. How could you say such a thing? He was robbed. Could you rob someone? No, I couldn't rob someone, but that's just because I have morals. And I could never even look at somebody and think of hurting them. So, you wouldn't believe me even if I did try and rob you. I'd be like, sure, you're going to shoot us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, I wouldn't even touch a gun anyway and go anywhere near one. So, yeah, it ain't happening. I'd rather sleep on the street in the cold than even think about hurting another human being. But anyway, each to their own. I just mean, as far as crimes go, I would totally rather read about these crimes all day long than, say, murders. Just saying. Like this next one. Oh no, he wasn't murdered. But a man has been charged after allegedly stabbing a Centrelink worker in Melbourne's northwest. I was like, what the flip is happening? People be losing their minds. So a man has been charged over allegedly stabbing a worker at Centrelink in Melbourne's northwest this afternoon. Okay, so for my non-Australian friends and my non-Australian viewers, Centrelink is a payment. It's a government body that pays people like single mothers and disabilities payments, and they're government payments pretty much. So if you don't have a job, then you can get like a looking for work payment and stuff. It's just to cover the very, very cost of living. And look, no one's making money off Centrelink, that's for sure. But it hardly even covers the cost of living, to be honest. And yeah, it's just something that we have over here in Australia. But Centrelink is the people who run it, and it's run by the government, but they're the individual bodies who run it. So the 55-year-old employee was rushed to hospital in a critical condition after she was allegedly stabbed in the upper body at a shopping centre in Lewis Street, Airport West, at about 1:30 p.m. Police located a man nearby who was subsequently arrested. Paramedics treated her at the scene before she was transported to Royal Melbourne Hospital, where she is now stable, thank goodness. A 34-year-old Estonian man has been charged with intentionally causing serious injury, recklessly causing serious injury, reckless conduct endangering a life, common law assault, and use of a possessed controlled weapon. Oof, that's a lot of charges. Estonian. Interesting. Giving them a bad name. I know some Estonians, they're lovely. He's expected to appear at the Melbourne's Magistrate Court a little bit later on tonight. So, Services Australia's General Manager Hank Jargarson said that they're supporting their staff in the service centres, and our hearts go out with the injured service officer and their loved ones who, she's never going to be able to return to work now. I mean, I wouldn't. If you've ever been in a Centrelink and you've ever had to stand behind the absolute irate people that you see coming in, it's scary. It's a scary place if you're a person who has to go in there because you don't have a job, or has to go in there because they have a disability, or and they need to sort out payments or whatever. Standing in that line and waiting for pretty much to fill out your paperwork and feel like the scum of the earth because you're having to get money from the government because you need food, you need to live. you already feel like trash, and then having to stand there and watch these people, and these people, like some of these people that are in there, they like lose their tiny mind. They got like no shoes on, no teeth, screaming at the people at the desk, telling them, you know, oh, you're a fucking foul, I have a fucking job, fuck you, do your fucking job. You know, you see them and they just lose their tiny shit. Or, you know, women with like kids that are running around everywhere screaming and carrying on like pork chops. Those environments that they work in are stressful. There are people in there who are stressed, underappreciated, overworked, and just treated so badly. And so it does not surprise me that someone has lost their shit and stabbed one of the Centrelink workers, because, I mean, it was only a matter of time. They should have metal detectors and stuff in that place, because honestly, it is so scary. I wouldn't want to work there. And, you know, I have psychological background and sociology background and English lit and anthropology background, and I probably could do a really good job at Centrelink, but no way on God's green earth would I take that job. It's just not worth it. I mean, this poor woman's going to be traumatized forever now. Traumatized forever because she got stabbed doing her job. No one should lose their life doing their job. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And too many incidents are happening. Anyway, now that I have had that rant, let's move on. So a trio allegedly stole $1.5 million from a woman who was seeking Aussie citizenship. Who the hell has $1.5 million? And also, I'll have some. Please, I promise I won't pay you back. Do you see what I did there? No, honestly, I feel so sorry. So sorry. Okay, so let me tell you about the scam. So 3 people have been charged over allegedly $1.5 million immigration scam, and they face court in Sydney next month. So police launched an investigation in February of 2021 following reports that a 46-year-old woman had allegedly been defrauded of $1.5 million while she was trying to arrange her Australian visa. So on May the 4th, a 36-year-old woman was arrested in Nari in Sydney's south. I love that town, the sound of that town, Nari. And it's not a 36-year-old woman, it's a 36-year-old man. Jesus, Hayley. He was charged with dishonestly obtaining financial advantage by deception. Jesus. It's also called theft. Recklessly dealing with the proceeds of a crime greater than $5,000, sorry. Publishing false and misleading statements to deceive, and participating in criminal group contribution to a criminal activity. Jesus, some of these things people get charged with, I'm just like, they just make that up. Did they just like find all of the words in the dictionary that mean the most obscure shit and just like put it all together and said, there we go, there you go, I'm going to charge you with misleading statements to deception and participate in criminal group contribution of criminal activities. Take that, say that 3 times over. Oh, Jesus, who comes up with the names of these things? So following further inquiries, detectives yesterday searched a home in Tamarara in Sydney's northwest, and I probably said that name incorrectly. Everyone who's in Sydney is laughing their ass off at me now because I can't say the suburbs. I'm dyslexic, okay? This is as good as you guys are going to get. Okay, they seized mobile phones, laptops, hard drives, passports, and documents. And a 42-year-old man and a 39-year-old woman were also arrested at the home. So the 42-year-old man was charged with, here we go, big mouthful again, dishonestly obtaining property by deception, knowingly dealing with the proceeds of a crime, seriously indictable offences, knowingly dealing with the proceeds of a crime with the intent to conceal, serious indictment offence and the participate criminal group contribution criminal activity. Jesus. Like I said, I don't know who comes up with the name of some of these things, but, you know, you guys need to calm down. Calm down, because these names are just a mouthful. And for someone like me, I'm dyslexic, okay? I'm trying over here, but you're giving me the croaky voices even. So, yes, the 46-year-old woman helped obtain citizenship for herself. The police will allege that the three people worked at an immigration company in Sydney and were hired by the 46-year-old woman to help obtain citizenship for herself and her family in exchange for $1.5 million in 2017. It will further be alleged that they transferred that $1.5 million into personal bank accounts and were forging documents, including citizenship documents, without helping the woman secure an Australian visa. So not only did they rip her off, but she didn't even get to come to Australia. The two people arrested yesterday were granted strict conditional bail and they will appear in court on June 14th. The investigation continues because surely they ripped off somebody else. They didn't just rip off this one woman and then be like, see ya, wouldn't want to be here. Yeah. I mean, I hope no criminal says something like that. That sounds very childish. See ya, wouldn't want to be ya. But, who knows? Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what criminals say. I don't know anything. I know nothing. You know nothing, Jon Snow. Nothing. Okay, hold on. Obviously, I decided to go with this weird orange color. I think it's actually just the light from my camera. That's the reason why I'm like, it's a bit bright. But I think as long as I sort of blend it with the other colors, it'll be okay. Because when you put them all together, it doesn't look so bad. I kind of like it. It's growing on me. It grew on me like a tumor, like malignant melanoma. Now it's in my heart. Okay, so CCTV footage has released. CCTV footage has been released as police continue to search for a teenager who's been missing in Tasmania for weeks. So, here we go. The drivers of 3 cars are urged to come forward as police are searching for a missing girl in Tasmania. And it's been almost about a month since anyone has seen this Shana Lee Tatnell. So Shana Lee Tatnell, 14, was last seen on Sunday, April 30th. The Tasmanian police have released footage of 3 vehicles that were spotted in the area on Henry Street in Langaston, travelling towards the city at about 9 a.m. on the 30th of April. So there are no suggestions that the drivers of these cars have anything to do with Tatnell's disappearance, only that they may have observed something or have some CCTV footage like on their dash cams, which could assist the police investigation. So they're asking, it's possible that the driver or any occupants of these vehicles could have seen something that can assist the police in any way with the ongoing investigation of Cheyenne Lee's disappearance. So 2 of the vehicles are believed to be silver sedans. One of them is possibly a Holden Commodore with a spoiler. Yeah. The third is a van, similar to a Honda Odyssey. So if you go onto the 9 News website, you can actually have a quick gander at it, and there's a couple of just some quick pictures of the vehicles, which obviously were like driving quite quickly, so they're a bit blurry. It's urged that these vehicles come forward, well, the drivers of these vehicles come forward, as they may have valuable pieces of information and just not even know that they have that information. So Cheyenne Lee was last seen around Henry Street, like I said, near the North Esk River at about 8:30 p.m. on Sunday, April 30th. She's described as being 160 centimeters tall with a slim build and blonde hair. Remember, she's just a baby. She's only 14. At the time she was last seen, she was wearing a cream-colored hoodie with dark writing on the chest and in the shoulder area. She was wearing bike shorts, and an extensive multi-day search of the North Esk River failed to find any trace of evidence or any traces of Shanalee at all. Anyone with any information in relation to these above vehicles, like I said, just go onto the 9 website and you can have a look and see what those vehicles look like. Then the drivers are urged to contact the Lancaster CIB on 131-444 to report anything anonymously if you want to Crime Stoppers. Because any tiny little bit of information is helpful in these cases. I mean, let's bring this little girl home. And I hate to say this, but I've got a feeling that she is no longer alive. But I don't know, because you can't know everything. But I felt the same feeling about Daniel Malcolm, so... But that doesn't mean I know everything. It's just a feeling I have. I feel really sad, and I hope I'm wrong. I really, 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 really hope I'm wrong. Ha! I knew it! I knew it! Okay, so... Do you remember, like literally just 2 stories ago, I was talking about the jeweler who was robbed? And I said, and I was thinking, but I didn't say, I did say that it seemed like it was an inside job, that someone had known, like, you know, that someone had cased the place. Well, it turns out that had already happened previously. Not in this one, but in a different one. And so that's why I think my brain has gone there. So this story is about a jeweler who staged a robbery and stole how much was it? $2.8 million from Lloyd's in London. And he staged a robbery to make it look like he had been robbed, and then he claimed the insurance. So that's why I was thinking before, when it, like I said, that I don't think that would be caught in any way. And that was why I didn't think that would be caught, basically, is what I'm trying to say. That was the long way of saying the same thing. I actually thought that perhaps the owner knew the robbers, but if you have a look at the CCTV footage, he does look absolutely petrified. But I do think it was an inside job. I think somebody knew something to do with something. So they'll either not be caught if it has nothing to do with anyone else, or they will be caught. But anyway, you'll be caught because doing bad things is bad, okay? I know I just finished saying that, you know, all about, like, how that's not the worst crime. And it isn't, like, as far as crimes go, like, it's not the worst crime, I suppose, but he's still going to be traumatized. And, yeah, it's still a crime. It's still bad. It's still bad, okay? It's still bad. Alrighty, I think I'll do one last story because I'm running out of time. It's almost been an hour. Let me see. What have I got here? Okie dokie. So I've got a choice between Rolf Harris, who, if you don't know who he is, I feel like that deserves more time to his victims rather than the... he died, apparently, in the last couple of weeks, and everyone has been not told about it. But he was a convicted pedophile. He's also a musician here in Australia. But I think I'll talk about him tomorrow because it needs a little bit more time than I have to give. So instead, I'm going to talk about the 4 teenagers who have been charged with the murder of an Indigenous teen. Cassius Turvey has pled not guilty to committing and will stand trial. So I'll read you a little bit about that one and I'll finish up this flower. So 4 people accused of fatally bashing Indigenous Perth teenager Cassius Turvey have pled not guilty to his murder and have been committed to stand trial. So Cassius was a 15-year-old Noongar Yamati boy, and he was allegedly chased down and attacked with a metal pole as he walked home from school with friends on October 13th of 2022. He suffered serious head injuries and died in the hospital 10 days later with a bleed on his brain. His brain was just too big for his skull and he bled out, triggering an outpouring of grief and anger across the nation, including in this household. I was so angry, with some Indigenous leaders condemning the alleged assault as cowardly and racist. And I'm gonna say, I agree. It was cowardly. How it took 4 people bashed him with a metal pipe. They took turns and they taunted him. And sorry, my voice broke there. It's because it's tragic. And they killed him. They there's no other way to say it. Like, they killed him, and they're adults. So they're adults. Sorry, they weren't teenagers. They were adults, and they killed a teenager. So he's 15 years old, and he was killed by, allegedly killed by Brodie Lee Palmer, who's 27. Mitchell Colin Forth, who's 24, Jack Stevens James Banley, never trust anyone who has 4 names, who's 21, and Ashley Louise Gilmore, who is 20, is 20, is charged with his murder. Give me a second. They briefly pled on Wednesday via a video link, entering not guilty pleas. So Bailey and Forth also denied kidnapping and wounding another 15-year-old boy days before Cassius was attacked. So 100% they were racist assholes. 100%. The teen was allegedly chased down on October 19th and punched and kicked and stabbed before being taken to a house where he was held for a period of time. So that was the boy that previous to Cassius. Gilmore pled not guilty to detaining the same boy. So Bailey, Forth, Palmer, Gilmore also pled not guilty to assaulting and stealing from a third person on the same day that Cassius was allegedly attacked. Gilmore also denied causing bodily harm to the same youth. The group remained in custody until July 31st of their first appearances at Supreme Court, when the trial date is expected to be announced. So they'll stay remanded in custody until that day. Bailey was charged in October. Palmer, Forth, and Gilmore were charged in January. Cassius has been remembered as a loving son and role model to his friends. He had started his own lawn mowing business and was invited at the age of 11 to deliver an acknowledgement to country at a WA Parliament. Some members of his family attended the court on Wednesday, but they declined to speak to the media, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't speak to the media either. So let's all feel really sorry for that family right now having to deal with that grief, because that's absolutely horrific. And I remember when it happened, I remember thinking it was so horrific. Alright guys, thank you for your time today, and I do appreciate you. Like I said, I'm sorry that the video is late, better late than never. I still haven't decided whether I really like this orange or not. I'm going to turn my light off and see what it looks like. And see if I feel like it'll just stand out too much. Should trust my gut instinct. I really do feel like it's too bright in comparison. Let me know what you think in the comments. Okay. Bye. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.